Alright, hopefully we're running down towards the end of this sucker. This should be the last video, I hope. And we're on blue. Have to try to figure out what to do with him. Well, right now he's got it set up so that if he places here, he doesn't get anything because yellow placed here. Which means I'd have to move 2 spaces and get a double base there. That might be worth it for a 7-point thing. What are my alternatives though? Well, I've got a 7 here that might be a threat if I'm not, or at risk if I'm not careful. Wow, I'm not sure I hold the humans anymore, do I? I got 2. They've got 2. I don't know if this one counts. It's got to be a colony unit. So they're only at 1. Are there more humans? Oh, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm way ahead of them. Alright. Always hard to figure out what the hell's going on in this game for me. Anywhere else that anything cool would happen. Here, 1s are in place, 2s are in place next to it, but there's no 3 there. That means if I shift here and use up a lot of these triangles, and they're more than I need, I'll be able to get a 5-point space. That looks pretty good. I don't want to look through every possible option. It's just too much of a pain in this game. Next player is Ban, moves in, and now there's this mechanical complexity as I swap this in. Okay, now blue has just gained an icy place. That puts me to 2. And yellow, who owned them, is down to 1, 2, it looks like. That may mean green has it. Or someone. Let's see, red has 2. Green has 3. So this goes over to green. And you can see how irritating all this shifting and calculation is. I know Tom Vassell made the complaint that there's not a lot of theme here to this. And that's true. There are some real problems in terms of associating this to the reality that might be there. But even as a pure abstract, there's an annoyance factor to it all, which I don't, I don't remember him really slamming it on. There's just too many different routes to calculate. Of course, a lot of people may like that. I don't know. All right, let's look at red. Red here. They have a level 2 base here. They have a level 1 base here, which is appealing because maybe they can get force on something like this. But that's already fallen. Not a lot I can fill in there. If I fill this in, I get to keep it. That's kind of neat. Anything more valuable that I can say the same of? This I would probably be able to keep, but I can't get there right now. So I think this 1 is as good as anything else. If I played here, I wouldn't get to keep it. That I can reach. So I'm going to start shifting my ship over. I'm going to drop this point here. Roll my die. Oh, I hope. Maybe there's something hiding under here. I get a next person's ban, so a yellow thing goes here and covers up whatever was there so you can't see it easily. Now we go to the yellow player who only has the wargers left. Well, he's got a lot of force on this space and can get there. He doesn't have force over here. So that's kind of appealing. I'm trying to see if he has anywhere else. Could go into here. This is a 2-point space. I can let other people fill this up if need be. So I'll go into here. That's going to fill that. Let me move my ship out a little bit into the play, and we'll roll our die. And it's a card play. I have a force field. I don't think I'm threatened anywhere, and a rebellion. I think I have to do this soon. It's a sector where I hold the loyalty pledge. Replace a rival military base in that sector with one of your colonies. That sounds very promising. Let's look for a red military base where I could put a colony. That could be here for 2. That's not bad. Over here I could blow this away for 1. This doesn't look like it's going to have any additional military effect. This one might. I think this is my best choice. And I'll do that with my card. Because drawing new cards may not do much for me anymore. Well, it's a matter of the game is really kind of winding down. Alright, now for green, trying to see where they could gain anything. They could grab this. Over here, I don't want to fill this, or do I? Right now, it's safe to do so. So this is a very appealing time to get in there and protect my 7 base. This thing, you know, I don't know what to do with him. I think I'm going to put him here. That gives me flexibility to go in either of those directions. I'll put this down and I roll the die. And that looks like it's his own, which goes out here. Alright, let's go around another time. Back on blue. Clearly, the interesting part of the board is over here. Everything else is kind of filled up. It takes a little bit of looking to see that all the things are filled, especially when some are getting jostled out of the way. So I'm going to want to move my ship down in this general direction. What else can I do? It does not hurt me to grab this. The reason is I'm already covering it with this, so I'm not going to lose more there. Might be nice to have more people in there, just because of the points for that, but this may be the best move that I think can be made at this point. And I get a card play. Let's see if we can get this. This is a rebellion, loyalty pledge, replace a military base. Let's see if there are any human military bases. I could upgrade this and get a point off that. That's kind of interesting, actually. Here, it's a 2.1. These military bases aren't going to help me, so I'm going to play this and pump in there for 2. Okay. Puts me on green again. Or, I'm sorry, on red, who has the green dude. Maybe illicitly. It's hard to tell. What does red want to do? Well, there aren't a lot of places to go anymore. So we'll shift down towards where there are places to play. And now let's see, what can I do with my red pieces? There's not much I can play. I got a red piece here, but that doesn't get me into... The only empty spaces look like they're here and here right now, and this one. This one gives to green, and I think green's doing pretty well, so I don't want to hand something to them. I want them to have to spend a play on it, I guess, at least. I don't get to roll the dice because I didn't move. Now, I'm going to turn this because if everybody in a row doesn't move, the game's over. But I think that's impossible at this point. Okay, for yellow. No reason not to move here. And now I've got a lot of force on this space, so I feel pretty comfortable going in there. How do I feel over here? That wouldn't hurt either, so I'm going to actually do my expansion into this space. That gets me in another human area. Does that matter? I have 1, 2, 3 of them. Blue has 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. So we're still good there. I'm going to roll my die. I get a green ban. over here. And you can see there really aren't a lot of places left. And we're on green's turn. He can play here and get a point. Here, playing for the 2-point space is probably not valuable, but he could drop some military presence in. What would that possibly do? The only thing it can affect is this space. It looks like yellow has that more or less guaranteed. If I put a 1 in there, the 2 will win. If I put a 2 or a 3 in there, the 1's going to win. I'm going to move my ship into here. That looks more interesting. I can't really do anything about it, but I can drop this sucker in. And my own ban. One reason maybe not to do that is to not move the ban, let somebody else move it. But it's not like this is a terribly valuable space at this time, except that somebody can put a military base here and take that 7 away. That's a problem. Okay, I can turn this back. People have gone. Let's do blue again. Blue needs to fill this. And since there's almost nothing left, we'll go here. We're going to fill this to prevent anyone else from getting in there. And we get a card, which will be a draw. Too bad it's a rebellion we probably won't get to use. Because you can't even play a card unless you do something on the board. And we are at the end here. For red, red will also cluster down towards. We're going to drop something in the 1 space. We have a chance of scoring that at least. And we get a yellow thing here. Now this is interesting, because there's only one place on the board that anything can go, and the ban's on it. What does that mean? That means we're done. Okay? Because it's yellow's turn. What can they do? They can't expand into there. They can't expand anywhere else. So they're not going to be able to take a turn. The die isn't going to get rolled. The band's not going to move. We're going to go all the way around. Game is over. It's time to score this thing. Ouch. Let me take a little rest. I'll come back because I want to go over the scoring as I do it, because it is kind of a painful task. Some of it's just going to be adding. We're not going to worry too much about that. I'll come back with that. But scoring each one of these, we have to worry about individually. And I want a little bit of time to kind of catch a breather between. Okie dokie, let's score this thing. Alright, we'll start off with blue. And by the way, these event cards all go away. They don't serve any purpose at this time in the game. Blue has the humanoids as their bonus score. I'm going to worry about the bonus scores first, then I'll just come back and tell you how many points everybody got adding them up. Although I can probably do that in front of you too if you wish, or if you don't. Okay, so I got to worry about how many players Blue's lodged with. He gets 2 for this. Because there's one other player in there. Let me keep a running total here. Nothing here. 2 here. I can take the bands off too. Another couple of 2s. Another 2. Another 2. Alright, let's zoom over here. He's sharing with 2 other players. That's worth 5 points. A 2-pointer here. Nothing here. I can get that ban off the leg. Let's get all this crap out of there. And I think that's it for him. So he totals 19 points. Now that is more than the Supplenti or the Warriors will get. But it's not a tremendous amount of points. It's nothing shocking. I think we're going to see more than that by far coming from the Hive, because he was able to really take advantage of his ability. And to me, it's these 2 who are probably the best able to take advantage of things. The Hive, if you can control and get your clusters of your own pieces, you've got this big bonus. And these crystallines The biggie with them is if you know that you have them for the game, essentially the way this guy knew he had the humanoids, you can start targeting 1-point areas and you get big points off them. We'll see if Green kind of forgot about that and didn't and was continuing to go for higher point areas, I think, later in the game. But we'll see, because they have a lot of 1-pointers they filled in with at the same time without even thinking, basically. All right, did we get the least bases? All right. What counts as a base? Well, it's just any location where you have triangles. It doesn't matter how many are stacked. So we have to see. They have one little base. I see someone else who has one little base. Green. He doesn't have any other bases. So what we did was we tied for the least bases, and that gives us an 8-point bonus. Pretty good deal, I'd say. I think it's tough to get away with that one and still be in the running. We'll see if Red was in the running in terms of planets, because it looks like they got kind of hosed on their planets, actually. But one key base helped them. They gave up 7 points. Did they gain 7 points off that base? I doubt it. It looks like they didn't get anything anywhere near that value from it. Well, maybe they got this off of it. That's worth 7. That looks like it's likely, because I know they put in there for something important. Okay, what about our Wargers here? That says I got the most bases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think anybody's got that many or anywhere near it. These guys have 1 each. Blue looks like they have 2. So we're going to get the full 15 points for having the most bases. This is an easier one to get because it's to your advantage to build bases. It's not to your advantage to avoid building them. So this is a more positive one. And we can see not quite what blue got, but still a good amount of points. Now, we were worried yellow was going to win. They had 3 of these special powers at one point, but now green, I think, is going to score really huge on those, and they're going to score pretty big overall. Okay, so the crystalloids. These are the tricky one. It's +5 for every colony sighted in a 1 location. Now, if I was scoring this, not doing it this way, just calculating out my score, I'd just try to remember that I'm counting these as 6s. But instead, I'll hunt down all the 1s for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow. So they get 30 off the crystalloids. And that's pretty damn impressive. And now we've got the hive, which is complicated. 2 colonies is worth 2, 3 is worth 5, 4 is worth 9. Well, I got 3 here. That's going to be worth 5 points. This is one I'm going to have to... Another 5 points there. This is a base, so it doesn't count. 2 here. That's only worth 2 points. And a big 4 here. That's worth 9 points. So we get 21 off that special power. And we can see they picked up the most off of their powers. Let's start with the weakest guy, Red, and see how many points they score for their territories. 1, 4, 9, 16, 19, 24, 28, 33, 38, 40. Looks like 41 points. That should be pretty easy to beat. We're going to have a total of 49 there. Yellow's the next weakest in terms of what they scored on here. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 23, 24, 25, 36, 38, 45, 49, 55 points. So we got more points and more total. Let's go to blue next. Blue doesn't look as rich as yellow here. 11, 14, 19, 20, 21, 30, 39, 49, 51, 57, 60, 65 points. Okay, they did pretty well too. That looks like 84. And now, unless Green were doing very poorly, they've got it sealed up because they've got 51 points here. What we've actually seen is that everybody's bonuses played into, they got an equal increment, or the ordering of the bonuses so far has been the same as the ordering of the actual planetary values. Let's see if that works with Green too. 7, 11, 17, 18, 19, 20, 23, 33, 41, 42, 49, 51, 52, 56, 62, 64, not quite, but they clearly have the victory, however. All right. So what worked and what didn't? I don't know. You know, when you're making this many decisions, and they're not easy decisions. You could see I'm getting lost constantly as to what is it I'm trying to do. Okay, that would go away in a multiplayer game, but still, when you're making, you know, for me to analyze this, I have to try to look at it and try to feel what's going on here. One thing that is important, and there's no question, is to aim for the correct ones of these and target them properly. I didn't spend a lot of effort on that in this game at all. I let people kind of stumble into them and hold on to them as they would probably in a first game of this. But it is very clear that certain ones of these are more capable of generating points than others. First of all, the Wargers and the Supplenti have a serious limit to how many points they can possibly make. You can see the humanoids who aren't even terribly good. Now this is because it's a 4-player game. In a 2-player game they'd really suck. But you can see, even though they're not terribly good, they still pulled in more points than the maximum possible that either of these could get. But these guys have no limit. And neither do the humanoids. And the crystalloids, well, that's a lot of points. And I wasn't aiming terribly hard for 1-point locations. Yet the nature of the game is such that, well, they have to all get filled and you're going to get some share of them. If you get 5 extra points per, that's going to be a significant boost in points. Green happened to have actually grabbed a decent number of them. The problem with that, well, it can be advantageous to you, as Yellow did, to sit on a lot of those 1-point spaces with bases. So you kind of have this choice. Do you want, to sit a colony for a point in general, or do you want a base? Well, those 1-point spaces are too valuable for the crystalloids to just sit a base on, but they can throw, when they need bases, they can throw them on a 2-point space instead, for whatever reason. The Hive, on the other hand, wow, this is powerful, and I would say it's more powerful in less players because you have more ability to like really dominate a hex on the board. And you can make that kind of a key goal, locating your bases there, etc., where the other player has to put a lot of fight into it. So yeah, he sat on what I think are the 2 best of the abilities, and the point-wise actually shows that up. The Hive only made him 21 points, which isn't much better than the humanoids, not much better than the Wargers even made, perhaps. But the crystalloids pulled in 30 points of bonus without him having to go too far out of his way to try to score them. In fact, I kind of forgot he had that entirely. All right, I'll be back with a review.